We are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 633. I am Jay. How you doing, Mark?
Good. I am not good. I'm doing great. I am doing awesome. I am doing the best I think I've been doing since we started doing the show, because this might be the most talented team we've had since we started doing the show.
It's very exciting. I mean, ever since the trade, it looks like a completely different team. They're 5-0. They're outscoring their opponents by an average of 20 points per game, which is insane considering they played Minnesota and Philly in that span.
Not exactly playing bad teams.
Right. The schedule luckily lets up a little bit finally. I mean, they've had the hardest schedule, 8 back-to-backs and 7 more away games than home. It was insane. But
yeah, I mean what is it? The Knicks are they're I think 15-1 or 14-1 or 15-1 against teams that are below 500. And the rest of the way, they actually play a lot of teams that are below 500. I think they played among the most teams that are above 500 up to this point. Yeah. And the schedule looks so much better going forward. I think the combined winning percentage of the teams they're playing going forward is around 480, whereas it was above 500 up to this point, or up to pretty recently. This Knicks club is, I don't know. This is ecstasy. This is awesome. Best record in 2024. Best defense. I mean, it's very short sample size, but that best defense of 2024.
By 7 points.
By 7 points. Not a small point.
Their defensive rating is 7 points better in January than second place, which is the same difference between second and 13th.
That's
something. I know
that's something.
Small sample size, but they played good teams, and it seems sustainable. This doesn't feel like a fluke.
No, it does not. It seems, I mean, they played really good teams. I have to say, last night, where we are, basically, the Knicks just beat Portland last night. Does Portland have a professional basketball team?
I mean, literally, yes, but only in the loosest definition.
They did not seem like a professional basketball team. Of all the victories, I guess it just seemed like the most of this is a sure thing from moment one. It looked like the Knicks were kind of playing with their food, so to speak. There looked like at no point after 5 minutes of the game, Portland had a shot of winning the game.
Now, I didn't do research on this, but I think it was the first time in Tibbs's career that he didn't put the starters back in the entire fourth quarter.
Yeah, even Tibbs was like, this is kind of over to start the fourth quarter.
He let the bench play from 3 minutes left in the third through the fourth, and halfway through the fourth, he's like, let's go deeper into the bench. Bring out the Ryans and the Malakis. And
Malachi still didn't go on until pretty late in the game, and I was like...
3 minutes left, yeah.
I was like, can Malachi cook for 6 or 7 minutes? Why the hell not? I want to see what Malachi has. This is the evil Dante game.
But still, it was interesting to see Tibbs not put in his starters for at least the first 6 minutes.
Yeah, and for those that basically have not seen this, there's a picture of Dante and Malachi. Malachi Flynn kind of looks like evil Dante. You have to look at the pictures of them. It's weird when you see the picture of the two players.
Yeah, somebody put them and then below it Luigi and Waluigi, and I thought that was perfect.
Yeah, and it kind of fits. Yeah. So Knicks are awesome. Since last game, they beat since the last show. Sorry, they beat the living piss out of the Sixers. They beat the crap out of the Wizards, and obviously beat Portland. So things that can concern us. Mm-hmm. Actually, before I even get to key things that concern us, can we talk about like some latest news in Knicks world?
Yeah, I just want to add that they've been doing this and they've absorbed bad games from Brunson and Randall. So like that's why I think this is sustainable. Like those guys haven't even been like playing out of their mind during this crazy winning streak.
Right. Like everyone else is kind of playing out of their mind, but not even out of their like. Is anyone playing so? Is anyone playing at such a level where you're like, this seems unsustainable?
No, like if you look at RJ in Toronto, he went 10 for 13, and he's hitting everything from threes to layups, everything he did not hit in New York, and that to me, maybe I'm wrong, but that to me is not sustainable. But I don't see anybody on the Knicks like shooting 85% in a game and like just playing so far above what they normally do that I'm like, they can't keep doing this. Maybe you can make an argument for McBride, but maybe McBride has arrived.
Yeah, I mean the argument for McBride, which Tibbs had made. So I kind of, when I'm thinking about the trade, and by the way, it's working out well for Toronto so far.
Yeah,
I hope IQ flourishes.
I mean, if the refs didn't give them a big screw job last night, they would have been 4-1 since the trade.
They're and they're playing well. And RJ, the last two games actually has been great. Hopefully it's sustainable. Hopefully RJ has found his more consistent self. I think we're all happy with the trade.
Yeah.
But one of the things I was thinking about is when the Knicks did the calculus of making this trade, they looked at it and they said, well, OG is an improvement over RJ in terms of fit here. He can defend all the positions. He may not be as as good a volume scorer as RJ or creating his own offense, but he'll fit in better and so forth. But the other thing I think is they said McBride, he's not going to replace IQ as in all his minutes or all his scoring, but I think they thought McBride was ready to take over a greater role and actually take like, I think part of the calculation was that like McBride's going to not, maybe McBride could be 50% of IQ and then have the rest of IQ scorings be taken up by like or more Dante, more Grimes. But I think part of the calculation was McBride is ready for a stepped up role. And the thinking, I mean, like what Tibbs has said or what the organization has said is like, or I guess Tibbs has said before, is that McBride looks awesome in practice. We know he looks awesome in the G League. It just hadn't translated yet on the court. He's finally hitting shots.
Yeah, I mean, he's every time he went to the G League, he would hit like crazy amount of shots. You knew his shot wasn't like fundamentally broken.
Right.
And so you figured it would start hitting at some point, and it finally did. It took longer than we thought, but perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Yeah. Some guys need confidence.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. He knows he's playing, prior to this year, like 5 minutes a game. And if he misses a shot, that's probably it for him for the night. So it's probably more nerve-wracking than knowing he could take 10 shots and miss 8 of them and still get playing time.
Right. And I guess once you start hitting shots, you feel better about it. I still feel his minutes have been a little bit limited by Tibbs, who is really just his safety blankets of making sure Brunson and Randall on the court. Like, I do think he's playing those guys a little bit too many minutes lately with them and Ihart. I'm still concerned about their level of minutes. But hopefully, basically McBride proves himself enough that Tibbs feels comfortable playing in 15 minutes a night. That would be really a huge step.
Yeah. 15 minutes a night is 33 for Brunson, which is perfect.
Right. And hopefully Precious can also play 15 minutes because I am worried about Ihart breaking because Ihart is playing, I think they said like in the first 270 games of his career, he had played over 30 minutes. I forget I forget the exact number.
It was like 7, I think.
7, 8, not times. And they said in the last 13 games, he'd played over 30 minutes 12 times.
Yeah. So
it's a big step up.
It's a big step up, obviously, because Mitch is injured. So I don't know if you saw, the Knicks got denied the disabled player exception for Mitch.
I saw that because Mitch may not be disabled. They're saying they were going to reevaluate him in February. There's a chance he is going to be back close to playoff time.
Right. And if that's the case, that's a game changer right there.
Yes.
I'm at the point where I just want them to get another backup center until hopefully Mitch comes back, and if not, for the playoff run. I'm not blown away by these star trade rumors right now.
No, I am. But by the way, the latest guy who's available, Bismack Biyombo, was just released.
And it also came out that the Knicks are interested in AJ Griffin for some reason. Which
from the Hawks?
Yeah, he fell out of the terrible, terrible Hawks rotation. He couldn't crack that, and the Knicks are looking at him, which doesn't really make much sense to me.
Oh, I mean, I'd like AJ Griffin going to the draft. He's kind of a 3/4, I believe, and he can shoot some threes.
Yeah.
More of a three, but to
me, it just seems that position's set. I don't think.
Well, I guess. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of set. I feel like you have you
have OG and you have Hart.
Yeah, Hart seems to be playing backup 3, and that seems like it's working really well right now.
Yeah.
I mean the three guys of Hart, Dante, and Grimes, your glue/role players who can knock down. Two of the three of them can knock down shots. Like the three of them have been playing outstanding, ever since basically since the trade.
Yeah. They've been playing really good. Dante's level has gone up a lot. He looks like legit.
Yeah, I kind of don't want Dante to leave the starting unit because he's hitting all these threes. What do you want that? It seems like it fits in really well.
So
are we
threes,
making a mistake thinking that one of the things that's helped, I guess, in some ways, is not having another ball. Prior, we had 3 ball dominant guys who needed the ball in the starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like things are opening up. We're getting more assists. The offense looks looser with only 2 ball dominant guys in the starting lineup. Does it make sense to go back and add a third guy?
Also, just the chemistry. It seems like these guys are pretty tight and quickly becoming very familiar with each other's games. I don't know. If you can get better, you should, but I don't know how much better Murray, Hawks fans seem to not like Murray, and that's you're going to risk disturbing this chemistry for a guy who their fans don't even like.
Yeah, I mean, he has this always 6'5", so he's a pretty big guard.
Yeah.
Which is a positive. In San Antonio, he was known for strong defense. The Hawks just don't, as a team, apparently play defense, and he's not been the answer next to Trey.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also haven't watched him enough to know how well he plays off ball, but it seems like the starting 5, everyone plays, or at least everyone plays well off ball, and I feel like that really is a key to having a really good lineup.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. How getting another ball dominant guy seems like it might be risky. I like the way they're playing right now. In December, 30%. Thank you, Tommy Beer, for posting these. 30% of their threes of their points were threes in December. In January, it's 39%. That's a big difference.
That's a huge difference, but do you think that's something where is that sustainable?
I think so. They have a lot of good shooters. The floor is spread. They're moving the ball around. The ball movement's been very nice. I think it is. Jay Shady says, how concerning was the 9-minute field goal drought against Portland?
So they had that 9-minute field goal drought against Portland. They had a similar drought against Washington. They also had a similar drought against Philly. It's amazing they had a drought in all 3 games, and they all were blowouts. But what do you think?
They had a 9-minute field goal drought, and at the end of that drought, they were up by, I think, 16.
Right,
but same thing against Philly. They had a huge drought. I think they went 6 minutes without scoring, and they were still up by about 18. So it's a little concerning. All right, sorry about the audio issue. I was a little low, and now I'm not.
I think if I talked over you, it's because I couldn't hear you. I didn't know if you were talking half the time.
Oh, well, see, that just proves you never listen to what I'm saying, because you you couldn't hear me. You were just pretending.
I didn't know what you were. I'm like, is Jay still talking? I kept like squeezing this against my ears because I couldn't fucking hear you.
Well, I saw you doing that. That's why I was like, okay, there's got to be a problem.
Yeah, normally this is much more normal. Like I was like, this, I can't fucking hear him.
Great.
I was like, am I going deaf?
Well, we've only done 633 of these. Why should we get this podcasting thing down? I can't imagine why the show hasn't grown more than it has.
Okay, we should cut none of that out. Just keep going with the show.
One of life's big mysteries.
Oh my God! Holy shit! Keep this in. Don't cut anything out, Jay. Let's go to questions.
If you're a long-time listener of the show, you know that I don't cut gold moments like these out.
Don't cut this shit. Don't do editing. Anyway, Knicks look kind of. So the big news in Knicks world, Mitch might be back. Taj is no more. I don't forget if that happened before. I think that happened after the last episode. Taj has been cut. The Knicks have opened up a roster spot, which means they can take back a player or sign a player. They have flexibility with the roster. And what was the other thing? Oh, and it sounds like the Knicks may not be interested in making a big trade. According to Woj, where do we find this? According to where is this?
I saw a Knicks account say, according to Shams, the Knicks are interested in making a big move. I did not see anywhere Shams say that. So I don't know if that's...
Why does your microphone went back down again? Stop playing with it.
This is great. Okay. Yeah, I did not see him actually say that anywhere.
I couldn't find it either. Actually, I looked to see him when he said it, but maybe he said it on a show. But it kind of makes sense that you made a big move. The roster looks a ton different now. Why not just wait? I mean, at the very least, wait till February. But why not wait till the summer to see what happens before making your next move?
I mean, you've had 5 straight 20-point blowouts, 2 of them against very good teams. I think you at least wait 2 or 3 weeks. You have a month until the trade deadline. You at least wait a couple weeks and see, like, do we really have something here? Because if we do, then why give up assets if we have something here?
I think in-season prices are more expensive than off-season prices. If you're going to trade for Donovan Mitchell, his price will be worth less this summer when you have 1 year remaining on his deal.
That's exactly what happened with OG. I mean, they were asking for 3 firsts, and then the Knicks didn't have to give up any firsts because they waited.
Well, they gave up, according to some Knicks fans, they gave up 2 Hall of Famers, but depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, that's depends who you talk to, how much the Knicks gave up.
If you talk to some of those fans, at the end of the season, they may not call them. They may be excited about one of the 2 players.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I wish them nothing. I'm trying my best not to badmouth the 2 players that left because I really like them. One of them I just found more frustrating than the others than the other one. But,
I mean, you could say their names. It's not like it's like
no, they're like Voldemort. I can't say their names, Jay. Okay, fine. RJ's inconsistently drove me mad. I believe we had an episode losing our minds about him prior to the trade.
Yeah.
IQ is awesome, but very streaky. And sometimes dribble the air out of the ball. IQ is the one I'm going to more miss overall. RJ, I kind of felt like we just needed an upgrade, and we got one.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I'm definitely going to miss our IQ. He was one of my favorite players on the team, but if this is the result, I'll get over it pretty quick.
You're low again, by the way.
Cool.
I don't know what you're doing over there.
I don't know. I think my maybe my mixer's starting to go. That would be cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the RJ, I mean, like, there were so many moments I really, like, you rooted so hard for RJ. You kind of, like, there's so many moments I was like, wow, this guy's like, you thought he's making a leap. You're like, oh my God, he's going to be like a Knick for life. And you got excited about him, and he would always, something would happen, and he'd disappoint. Yeah. Anyway, I hope it works out for the Raptors and his long contract.
So far it's working out.
It's working out totally fine. Yeah. Anyway, so the rumor is the Knicks are going to make a small trade, if anything, before the deadline. And so I assume that means like a Malcolm Brogdon type player. What did you think of Malcolm Brogdon's audition last night with the Wizards?
It seemed like either he really wanted.
I mean, with Portland, sorry, not Wizards.
Either he really wanted Portland to get rid of him, or he really doesn't want to go to New York because he looked pretty terrible.
He only played 13 minutes, but yeah, he did not look really great.
He looks also bad, yeah.
I'm sure Scoot Henderson at some point in the future will be a great NBA player, but he does not look right now like a top 3 pick in the NBA draft.
Putting him on Brunson was a choice.
Yeah.
Not the best. Shimmy says, thoughts on all the bad calls by refs. Jaylen Brown hit in the head in the Pacers game. I don't know if you saw the Raptors coach going off. Amazing rant. He's going to get fined a lot of money. I mean, I've been pretty clear on my thoughts on the refs. I think they're fixing some games. I think it's a big problem, and the NBA seems cool with it.
Now you sound like staticky.
Cool. I'm going to have to do something about my mixer after the show.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's
is better.
That's my opinion on that. I think it's too often to be like random and a mistake. So
here's a couple questions. So first, as far as fixing this, do you think computer technology, AI, which is like maybe some more general, is there a way to have artificial referees?
Probably, or at least like have like a central location where you can like correct these things right away. I think you should just do away with touch fouls and then give coaches unlimited challenges. It'll do away with the touch fouls like immediately, because if you keep embarrassing the ref by calling them out on a touch foul and having it overturned over and over, the refs are going to stop calling it. They don't want to get embarrassed.
So Major League Baseball has a central has a central location that reviews all
NFL has
challenges.
That too, right?
The NFL might also.
Yeah, I think they do too.
NBA should do that. They shouldn't have the guys on the floor doing that. But I also feel like your unlimited challenge thing would make the game impossible.
Well, I think it would be like 2 absolutely brutal, unwatchable weeks, and then the problem would resolve itself. The backlash would be so fierce that the refs would be like, okay, we gotta stop doing this.
I feel like you should get rid of the touch and one. If you were a touch foul and you scored, you get the basket.
Interesting.
I know maybe that's a little bit like like when I'm barely touched and then I dunk afterwards. I take 7 steps afterwards and then dunk.
Yeah,
it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
The touch fouls. So speaking of touch fouls, so the 2 leaders. You know who the 2 leaders are in the NBA free throw attempts?
I'm gonna guess Embiid.
Yes.
And it's not Harden anymore. Giannis.
Yes. They are, both of them are at over 11 a game. The next closest player is Doncic at like 8 a game.
Okay.
Do you know where Jokic is? Where's the Joker?
He doesn't take a lot. I'm going to say he's like 40th.
27th. But I thought it was interesting in the sense of like, first of all, Joker, who's just awesome, makes me think even higher of his offense because he's not given, the NBA says you're still allowed to cover him.
Yes.
But it seems like Giannis and Embiid, you're just not allowed to play defense against these guys.
It's tough. It seems like Embiid's just a monster. Giannis, he's super fast. He's super strong. There's like not much you can do when he gets a head of steam going.
Yeah.
And Embiid, he's also gigantic, but he finesses the refs. He's like 7-foot Harden.
Yeah, exactly. Every time I watch him, I'm like, what is the bullshit they're calling? The guy is huge. So here's my nightmare.
Yeah.
The Knicks trade for Embiid,
mm-hmm.
and when he joins the team, he gets Randall's whistle.
Yeah, right. I mean, what is
Suddenly
Embiid
he's
with
like-
Randall's whistle?
Suddenly you're like, what is this whole thing? What are these guys doing on the other team allowed to? They're allowed to play defense on me? Get me out of New York.
I mean, if he wasn't getting whistles, I could see him just throwing temper tantrums every day.
Whatever you say about Randall, if he got Embiid's whistles, you could add 5 points a game onto his game. Like it would just be like that much more.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a huge goddamn difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
And every big player gets hacked. I don't know. I don't know how to fix it, but the fix for the flopping thing is idiotic. Because every time there's a real flop, they don't call it. And then when they do call flops, it's complete bullshit.
Yeah, they called a flopping tech on Jokic the other day, and he got pushed in the back. And I'm like, how are you that far off on your flopping calls? Like, you don't call it when there's a flop, and then you just make up flops. Like, I don't know. It just seems so arbitrary.
It really seems like absurd, completely absurd. Questions.
Yes.
Jan writes, what do you think is more of a need for this team? A backup ball handler or a backup big?
Backup big. I think McBride has been doing so well. I'm not even that worried about having him be like a part of the rotation now.
He hasn't looked like he's only looked okay as a ball handler. He's hitting his threes, and definitely showing more confidence. He doesn't look like he's not running the offense just yet.
No, he's not. But I feel like a backup center is much more important. If iHeart gets injured, this team's finished.
Yes, absolutely. The season's over.
So let's get a backup big, reduce his minutes by like 4-5 minutes a game, save his legs, and continue on this run.
Do you think, as far as backup bigs, is anyone on the roster a real, like, what do you think of Sims? Is he a backup?
No.
What's your thought on him?
I'm not really impressed with what I've seen with Sims. Like, even when he was out there against like Portland's bench, he didn't look great. And Portland starters is what a bench should be.
Right.
Portland's bench is like it's rough. It's rough, and he wasn't doing much against them.
What about Precious?
Precious has been decent. He's been better than I thought he would be. Not great.
Better than you thought? Like, what were your expectations?
Very low. Very low.
I thought he might be decent. Like, I guess he's not a rim protector. Is the issue? Like, he gets rebounds. Seems like he can guard positions.
Yeah, his defense isn't bad. He can rebound, but he's not intimidating anybody under the basket. And we haven't really seen him go against anybody like an Embiid. Like, you know,
his minutes have been very limited, basically, so far.
Unless you're just going to match minutes with iHeart with the bigger centers, but you know, he could get in foul trouble, and then what? Like, I don't really want to see Precious go up against a Giannis or an Embiid or something like that.
Yeah, Precious. Also, I was looking. Biombo was like only 6'8", so he's like the same size as Precious, so like, or same height at least. I don't even see a point of that. Basically, Precious seems like maybe he has a shot. I feel like maybe when he gets more confident, fits in better. He might look a little better. He seems like athletic. I just don't know the.
He hasn't been terrible. I think he's more of a backup 4.
Tristan writes, has RJ and Quick's full potential been unleashed in Toronto? They are playing well, it seems. Looks like trade worked out well for both teams. And David responded to this. Now they aren't being minutes restricted by Tibbs and denied the ball by no handle Randall.
I mean, are we still doing this? Like, he took 15 shots a game, which is like 39th in the NBA, which is the equivalent of a second option. And he played like 35 minutes a game.
And Randall wasn't subbing IQ out of the game. Like, IQ's minutes were limited more by having like Dante DiVincenzo on the team and just having a plethora of guards.
So to answer your question, yes, I think they're in the perfect position because really, like, I think Siakam's on his way out. They tried to trade him, and he actually told Sacramento that he would not re-sign there. And so Sacramento backed out of the trade negotiations.
Yeah, they said it was the first time ever that the fans were annoyed at a player for wanting to be a Raptor.
Right, exactly. So he's on his way out. So really, you have Barnes, and
who's potentially future All-Star.
Right, and so you could argue that maybe Siakam's still like a number 2 option, but RJ is probably 2 already, and IQ is immediately the starting point guard, which pissed off Schroeder. So now you got some unrest in the locker room.
Is it pissed off Schroeder? Is that something that you just reported? It's something that's been reported, or you just
Yeah. He's
whatever.
I mean, he was starting. Now he's not. Of course, he's not going to be happy about that.
I feel like for that team, first of all, they'll both get burned the rest of the season. They'll give it, then obviously they can try to resign IQ in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good situation. They had more forwards. They needed more guards. Knicks needed another forward. It balances out. IQ's ceiling was really limited in New York by the existence of Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
Because IQ really needed to be the starting point guard. And as good as IQ's potential is, there are some Knicks crazy fans, but I think 90% of the fan base, 95% of the fan base would agree that Jalen Brunson is better than IQ.
Yeah.
So we already had that locked down. And RJ, maybe the best version of RJ will be better. Maybe we'll be upset, but who knows? But he was not being held back by Randall, which is just insane.
He had more opportunity than most NBA players.
Yeah.
Based on his minutes, his shot attempts, like, he had plenty of opportunity.
Justin writes, sign Hardestein long term. And also, got the same question on Twitter. What do the Knicks do with iHeart this offseason?
Yes, sign him long term. Yes, he is a keeper.
So, do you give him the same contract that Mitch has? And then what does that mean? Basically, like, do you have to? Does that limit you at all? Having 2 centers each making $16 million?
No, I don't think. You have guys making like 50 and 60 million now. I think you can. I think you can do that. Combined, it's still 30 million, which is like DeAndre Ayton money.
Yeah, I think there's some issues with the cap in the sense of so Evan Fournier goes off the books this summer.
Yeah.
So you have money there, but then it might limit your ability to bring in a star player, a bigger contract later, if you're paying him $16 million also. Though I think you just do it and figure it out later.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to find a guy that just is this good. Like, I don't know, a lot of centers in the league, they're all right, but like he's like dominating right now.
Have you heard about the iHeart? I mean, we might have talked about when we first got him on the team. The iHeart, like the Reddit guy.
Yeah, he was the one who picked Jokic to break out when nobody else knew who he was, and he said iHeart's the next guy.
Yeah, the 2 players he picked, and who knows how many other players he picked, but the 2 other players he was right about Jokic and said the next player to break out, and he had all these reasons because of iHeart. They said because of his passing ability was elite, and his passing ability is pretty good, and like his plus minus, all these other things are all these reasons for his minutes were limited, and once he got basically 30 plus minutes a game, you would see just how amazing this player is.
Well, maybe the Knicks should bring that guy on as a consultant because he's been knocking it out of the park.
I was thinking about how that was funny. That guy wrote that. Now I'm like, shit. Who else do you want?
Yeah.
It'd be funny if he was just he's like, yeah, the Dallas got the guy Jalen Brunson. You try to sign him. Like he's the secret to the Knicks.
Right.
He's the secret advisor.
Maybe he blogged something about AJ Griffin.
Yes, maybe that's the next breakout guy. What do you think of also speaking of auditions? When they played the Wizards have a starting / maybe future Knicks backup point guard, Tyus Jones. What do you think of Tyus Jones?
I think he's very good. I think he would be really good. I mean, if you're gonna upgrade, like he's an upgrade over McBride, right?
Hands down. He's similar. He's 6'1". He's a little small, but so is McBride. Not probably as good a defender as McBride, but a far better offensive player.
Yeah, he He did really good backing up Ja in Memphis, and when Ja missed a bunch of games, Memphis didn't really. Excuse me. They didn't really miss a beat when Ja went out because he was doing great. Speaking of which, so Ja's out for the season now. And
really, really sucks. I mean, just in the sense of like entertaining basketball player, not to.
Yeah, I'm glad Halliburton was only a couple weeks, because to lose both of those guys on the same night would have been like pretty bad for the NBA. But
pretty brutal. Halliburton's injury looked pretty bad also, but I guess it's more of a strain.
Yeah. So Smart went off last night. He had like 26 points, 4 threes, and then he hit a three, and he does this celebration, and he tapped his finger into his head and dislocated his finger. It was the weirdest thing, and so they have no point guard now because I think Rose is injured. So hopefully they were able to pop that finger back in pretty quickly because they need Smart.
Wow, that is not his last name.
Jay Shady says, "Do you know why the Warriors and the Pelicans are playing national primetime game on ABC tonight? It seems so random."
Well, I mean, Steph Curry, Zion.
Yeah, I mean, before the season, you'd be like, "Oh, it's Curry, it's Zion." The Warriors won championship like 18 months ago. They're going to be still awesome. They didn't know Wiggins was going to like retire and not tell anybody, and Clay was just going to fall off a cliff, and Draymond was going to just start doing whatever Draymond does till he gets suspended.
Also, Zion Williamson, who's like, they were like, oh my God, like as soon as if this guy ever gets healthy, he's healthy now. He's just a fine NBA player. He's not he's no longer. I mean, I guess the injuries have taken away his super athleticism.
I don't know if the injuries have. He's carrying some extra weight, and it's hard to fly around the court when you got an extra like 20 pounds, 30 pounds on you.
Are you insinuating that like he shouldn't be humming all the time? McDonald's, I'm loving it. That should. You know how like boxers have like a theme music when they come on? They play like rap music and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be great if like when Zion comes on the court, it'd be.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm loving it. Hellman's.
Yeah, so not a shock that was a game, but I've seen them switch national games before, and it's interesting that they like didn't pull that game and just say, "Hey, let's show this game instead."
I don't know if are there any other big games tonight though that like would be worth switching it for?
Well, I mean, from a basketball standpoint, Timberwolves Celtics is much more interesting, but I don't think the common fan is like, "Oh, cool, let's watch the Timberwolves."
Right. I think Zion. I mean, when the Pistons are playing the Spurs in the toilet bowl tonight.
Yeah.
That's not exactly going to get. Pacers are playing without Hallie.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess there's not really a lot of Thunder Heat, but then that's again, it's not like.
I mean, it's a pretty good game. The Thunder have been awesome.
They have. I just think like the average NBA fan isn't familiar with like Shea.
I think Steph gets viewers.
Yeah. Steph gets viewers, and Zion probably still gets viewers just from all the hype for the last few years.
I think Zion's out. Is he injured? Like briefly, not like a real. I think
know.
Like day to day.
I don't know. I stopped even following because like the Pelicans are just like not an interesting team.
No, they probably they might want to consider trading Zion.
I mean, they're fine. They have the same record as the Knicks, 22-15. It's just, I don't know. I don't think anybody's worried about the Pelicans.
Right. I feel like they actually played better without Zion. So maybe like turn him into something better with maybe a better fit next to Ingram.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because he still has trade value, and I feel like his trade value will go down.
The problem is the fear, like, if he does get it together and he shows up in shape, like, and then you're the one who traded him away, like, you're getting fired.
Yes, that's not good for keeping your job. That is definitely true.
So, I mean, I think it's more of that right now.
Yeah, I like it would be hard to actually like pull the trigger on trading a guy like that big. so to speak.
I will say, though, if I'm a GM and next September he shows up to camp looking like that, I'm pulling the trigger.
Yeah. So the Knicks roster, like about as far as how guys are actually playing and what is sustainable. Just going back to that point for a second, I was just thinking about it. So your point, and this is part of the show I couldn't hear you, so now I want to discuss it.
Okay.
So Randall has had some down games. He looked terrible against Philly. He looked great against the Wizards. He looked all right against Portland. Generally, you have to. He's playing about his. I mean, taking a little bit less threes. He's playing like an all-star, but he's playing with what's reasonably you could expect from Randall, right? Totally reasonable in terms of his play or sustainability.
Yeah. I mean, he's been great, but he hasn't been like flawless. Where you're like, yeah, he's not going to keep this up. Like, you could argue his 3-point shooting could get even better. He can work on his turnovers a bit. I feel like he's getting a little better at penetrating and passing out, probably because he's got capable shooters everywhere now. And
absolutely.
His rebounding's still great, and his shot's been it was great for about a month, and it's been a little hit or miss the last few games. But overall, I mean, I don't see any reason why he can't keep up playing all-star level ball.
Brunson, if anything, has been a little inconsistent as of late. Had some big games. Like, he wasn't that good against Portland. He's been good, but you still feel like Brunson could even take it up to another level.
Yeah, the thing about both of them is when their shots off, they're still getting rebounds and assists and doing other things. And
of course,
that's also key. I will say, Randall has looked like he's trying a lot more on defense since the trade. He looks. I haven't seen the jogging up and down the court very often. He looks like he's really trying to shut his guy down. It's like he doesn't want to get shown up by OG, and he's like stepped up his defense a lot.
To paraphrase something that Brunson said when he was asked about it, like he just said the two of them are perfectionists, basically, always looking to like basically improve their game, and that's made it really great to play together because they're both like challenging each other to get better.
Yeah.
OG, his defenses look really good, but it's not like when you watch him, it's not like he's just like defender jumping around the court everywhere and like making amazing plays. He just seems like a solid defender who's smart but knows where to be on defense, and a big body. He's always in the right position. Like when you watch him, you don't feel like you're watching this all-time great defender. And not that he is an all-time great defender, it just seems like the guy is always in the right position.
I don't know. He's looked pretty awesome to me.
I think he's looked awesome, but I don't think he's looked like. I feel like he just always looks like he's in the right position, like a very smart defender.
Yeah.
But like, and his scoring, the Portland game was the first game he scored over 20 points. So like, again, looks very sustainable in terms of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's always been a good guy from the corner three. He's going to get plenty of opportunities there. So
yeah. Devo's among the top 10 in 3-point shooting. I think maybe top 5 in 3-point shooting percentage. He was a good 3-point shooter last year. He's always been a good 3-point shooter. And he's wide open for all these threes.
Yeah.
Looks pretty sustainable. Grimes was good last year. He had a bad start to the season, but he's looking a lot better lately.
I think Grimes can get better.
I was saying Josh Hart still doesn't shoot, so like...
There was a couple possessions in Portland where they overpassed so much it was almost comical. I mean, I appreciate the ball movement and the lack of selfishness, but somebody's got to shoot the ball at some point.
You know who's going to be really embarrassed? Josh Hart is going to be really embarrassed when he finds out you're allowed to under NBA rules, you're allowed to get a rebound and go back up and try to score after that. You don't have to pass the ball immediately. I don't know. My point was just going through this, like, everyone seems to be playing not crazy. I mean, McBride's playing a little better, but he has more minutes. He's getting some confidence. Ihart's been playing awesome. But he was playing awesome in 20 minutes tonight. Like, there's not crazy for him to like play this well in like an expanded role.
So your point is this is completely sustainable.
My point is the Knicks are never losing a game in the rest of my life.
I mean, I do think they are. It's not like a situation where you're like, wow, these guys are playing way over their head.
Yeah, that was my 20 minutes of talking about that. Yes.
You got there.
It should be by the way, I did not realize I'm looking at the box score from the Portland game. Precious was 1 for 9.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
That's really big.
Yeah, I know he was 1 for 5 at some point. I guess he missed those other 4 in like super garbage time.
It seemed like he was missing shots, but I just didn't even I did not realize he was just missing everything.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't know why he's shooting threes. So he hit 1 3 against Philly, which when he hit the 3 against Philly, I was like, I guess no one's missing tonight.
Right. It was the opposite of what was happening in the Knicks earlier in the season.
Yeah. It is crazy. Not to knock RJ, but how much of this defense being so much better lately is because OG is here, and how much are they so much better just because RJ is not?
Well, it's both. And he was not playing very good defense this season, and then you replace him with one of the league's best defenders. So it's a huge upgrade.
A huge difference, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't think I think we realize just how. Yeah, whatever.
But I mean,
playing awesome.
Randall's intensity on defense made a huge difference too.
iHeart really stepping into the role. Also, he's gotten better on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Switching Devo and Grimes, like I don't know, something about right now the team is just locked in defensively,
Mm-hmm.
which is like amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I know Grimes is supposed to be the defensive lockdown guy, but Dante's been incredible.
Yeah, I mean Grimes still might be the better defense. But the nice thing now, I guess, also is you stick OG on the hardest guy, so you you move Dante or OG over to the second hardest guy, which is a big difference.
Yeah. Somebody tweeted last night, imagine being down by 36 and Knicks unload the bench, then you have to go against Grimes and McBride and Hart, and it's like you still have all these like crazy defenders. Like that just sucks.
Yeah, they really built a roster around. Like, as much as people critique Tibbs, and then people are like, why would you get a player around what Tibbs want? Like, I don't know why people would say that. Why would you build your team to what your coach wants? Like you're gonna have the coach. You should build a team around what the coach is like. What he
It's
looks
a weird
for the
logic.
team. Like let's punish Tibbs by getting him guys like Fortier and Kemba who can't play defense.
Yeah, we saw how that worked.
They've really built a team that's so perfect for like the Tibbs style.
Yeah.
Like, got me rim protectors, got me a 3 who can guard every position, got me everyone cares about defense. Like
It's like 90s Knicks plus 3-point shooting.
yeah. How do you think this team stacks up to the 54-win team? I guess the best team in the last 20 years.
Well, Brunson's clearly better than Felton.
How dare you knock thin/fat Felton?
Who would Dante be up against? Wilson Chandler? J.R. Smith. I would take Dante. Definitely Dante on the weekends. Maybe J.R. Smith on a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
J.R. Smith could get some. J.R. Smith was more. He could create his own offense better than Dante.
Mm-hmm.
Dante's a better defender,
and Dante's
a better 3-point shooter. The J.R. is a pretty good 3-point shooter, also,
and also sober.
Yeah, you really.
I'm telling you,
you act like J.R. didn't take like playing in New York as serious as he should have.
All I'm saying is look at his daily splits: 24 points a game during the week, 14 on the weekend.
6th man of the year, that is also.
Yeah, for that like 6-week streak where he like played good on the weekend as well.
He also had like the most, like I think he played over 30 minutes a game, which I feel like should be disqualifying for 6th man.
I think he was like second on the team in minutes. It was
something ridiculous.
Yeah, he played like 34, 35 minutes off the bench. It's like
yeah,
okay, that's a starter.
Whatchamacallit. And so center, Chandler, they get the win on center. How do you feel, Jay, about Julius Randle versus Carmelo? Before you bash Carmelo and lose any listeners we have left.
No.
I would say overall, this team looks like it might be the better potential team. It's also more sustainable, younger players. That team was older. I feel like that team was playing in a weaker East.
I think you could say the starting lineup is close, but the bench, I think this team just blows them out of the water.
Yeah, there wasn't much on that. I mean, you had like a 40-year-old kid. There wasn't that much on that bench.
Literally everybody on the bench was between 38 and 40.
It was you had Kid at 40. You had Marcus Camby for half an hour. You had Kenyon Martin, who was really good towards the end of that season, but also was like in the last year of his career or end of his career. You had a lot of guys at the end of their career. Rasheed Wallace playing a little while at the end of his. It was the end of their career, like tour.
Yeah.
This team definitely. And Amari, I guess, I don't know who you match. I guess you can match OG with Amari. Amari's obviously the better offensive player. But
was Amari even functional in that 54-win team?
Well, if I remember correctly, Amari was out at the beginning of the season. The Knicks looked awesome. Amari came back. The Knicks were 500 for like 40 games that he played, or 60 games, whatever number of games he played. Then he got injured, and the Knicks won a tear once he was injured.
Yeah, so I'm going to give that to OG.
And then unfortunately, Amari came back for the playoffs because the team just they never worked as well as they just were better with him off the court.
I mean, really, it would be Melo, OG, and Amari Randall.
Okay.
I'm giving Randall obviously over Amari. Melo's Melo over OG, but like I don't know how well Melo would do with OG covering him.
It'd be tough. He's a very, very good defender. Who just like I've noticed OG's gotten some foul trouble since he's been here, which concerns me a little bit. Most of them have been kind of like touched kind of fouls, but he has been gotten some fouls.
So upcoming schedule, Mateo just said no Luka tomorrow in Dallas.
No Luka.
He doesn't want to get shown up by Brunson, so he's ducking him.
I was like, this is gonna be a really interesting game. Especially, I was like, OG will match up against Luka. How's this gonna go? This is the first time they're playing Dallas. I guess this is the first time they're going to Dallas since Brunson joined the Knicks.
Yeah,
that can't be right.
No, they had to play one other. I think wasn't Brunson injured, and that was when Luka hit that last second shot.
Maybe that's.
Or was that a home game? I don't know.
No, I don't remember exactly. I don't remember, but there was something about this was the first time they were playing.
Yeah, one of them was out.
First matchup against the Mavericks since they tanked away last season to keep their draft pick, and first matchup since Mark Cuban blamed Rick Brunson for sabotaging their free agency negotiations. So on the positive side for Mark Cuban, who I like, he got a championship for Dallas.
Yeah.
On the negative side, he let Steve Nash and Jalen Brunson go. Steve Nash before he became Hall of Famer on the Phoenix, and Jalen Brunson before he became we'll fill in the blank on the Knicks.
Well, I mean, he also won a championship and then let Marion and Tyson Chandler and Kidd go, which was
right. He let the team go.
That was a choice. That was a choice.
Yeah, I'm just saying he's made some, just the Steve Nash and I think Jalen Brunson. They're gonna really regret that over the years.
Yeah.
Two huge guys to like. I mean, Steve Nash obviously is another level than Jalen Brunson, as of now.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got Dallas. Then they got Memphis on Saturday night. Dallas is without Luka. Memphis is without Ja.
Mm-hmm.
And then Monday they got Orlando. I guess they're healthy. And Houston
this is like
Wednesday.
a bizarro early part of the season where guys would be injured and come back against the Knicks.
This is really like it's Dallas, Memphis, Orlando, Houston, and Washington. That's a real. We should go 4-1.
5-0.
5-0. Sorry, I don't even know why I said 4-1.
I mean, you got to start beating the good teams, and this is the chance to push Orlando further down the standings. So
I mean, like Dallas, like if Luka's not there, you should win.
Yeah.
Memphis was garbage before Ja came back. Orlando, beatable. Houston, beatable, very beatable. And Washington, I'm not sure they have a professional.
Orlando, no Cade.
Orlando, no what?
Cade.
Cade?
Yeah. Yeah, he's out.
Who's out?
Cade Cunningham. Like their second best player.
You mean on the Pistons?
On Orlando. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Never mind. I'm mixing teams up.
You know, I don't know if you know this, Orlando. The Magic are the Shaq is out for the game. So is Dwight Howard. Anthony Hardaway also is out for that game. So the Knicks are really they have the advantage in Orlando.
So right now, they have injured Gary Harris, Franz Wagner, Cole Anthony, Joe Ingles, Jonathan Isaac, and Wendell Carter are all out.
Why did they list Jonathan Isaac out as being injured? Should they only list him when he's active? Yeah. Shocking news, Jonathan Isaac is going to be healthy this game.
He hasn't played in like 2 years, right?
He played briefly, but he's, I guess, back to being injured.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's on the Ben Simmons schedule, who said he's coming back very soon. He said his back is better, and he will be on the court soon.
Okay, well, Nets fans, that's a huge positive for you guys. Everything's turning around. You're getting your superstar back.
Mm-hmm.
Mikal Bridges, if you're listening, and I know you are, of course, ask for a trade now. Do you think Devin Booker is the guy we should be targeting? In the sense of, here's my thoughts.
Yeah.
If you're going to make a major trade and give all your assets, I don't know if, like, Donovan Mitchell, if Murray, if they get you there.
Mm-hmm.
Embiid is really good, but he also gets a lot of foul calls and bullshit calls. The guy that would put this team to the next level would be Devin Booker. Phoenix is like 19 and 18. Kevin, Durant is going to ask out soon. You know that's going to happen soon.
Mm-hmm.
The team is falling apart. Booker should beat him to the punch. Tell him, I want to go to New York. I want to accomplish what Kevin Durant could not in New York and win a goddamn title in New York. Make it happen, Booker. He's CAA also.
If he can win a championship in New York and break the Kardashian curse at the same time, I mean...
Make him president.
Make the impossible possible.
Do it.
Do you know how many people have the Kardashian curse and have not been able to beat it? I mean...
I've heard it almost killed some players.
It literally killed one.
Anyway, that's the guy. I feel like if all the guys that are in any realm could come available, Devin Booker would be the guy. I know he's probably not going to come available. I'm just saying. I'm just like, I know he's not coming here.
The only way he leaves is if he tells Phoenix, I want out. Because Phoenix would never, ever, ever trade him.
I need Bradley Beal to help that team. Like, not that Bradley Beal's toxic. I just need that situation to get toxic.
Well, I mean, Durant already had to come out and say he was not disgruntled, which means he was definitely disgruntled.
Yes, which is always a good sign.
You don't do an interview saying you're not disgruntled if there wasn't a problem.
There's no problem here. I'm just doing a press conference to say everything's fine.
Like, if I called you up and I said, Mark, I just wanted you to know I'm not angry with you. Like, wouldn't that raise some red flags?
Jay, I just want to let you know I haven't been in your apartment recently, and I did not put my balls on your toothbrush. I'm just letting you know I've not done that.
Oh, well, good news then. Thank you for clarifying.
Just want to let you know, and I did not pee in your shampoo.
I will.
You can use it fine. Just letting you know these things did not actually happen.
I will sleep well tonight, and I will definitely not throw out my toothbrush as soon as we stop recording.
Okay, I think we are out of time, and the Knicks are going to win again. The Knicks are never going to stop winning. I love it.
So, nyknickspodcast@gmail.com, on Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, nyknickspodcast@gmail.com if you want to email us. And we have a Discord if you want to chat with us during games. And the links are on our Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff.
Dear basketball gods, I know I just said the Knicks are never going to lose again, which means we're about to go on a losing streak. Please don't jinx me. It's been so torturous as a Knicks fan. Please let us have this. Please let this be. Let us win. Come on, basketball gods, please.
Hello, Marc and Jay, and the rest of you New York Knicks podcasters. You have awoken me. It is I, the basketball god.
No! We're screwed.
So, yes, I want to reiterate what Mark said, and please don't jinx us, basketball god. We've done this show for 14 years. Give us a season with a happy ending, please. Thank you. All right. Now that we get that out of the way, thank you for listening, and we will be back next week. That's
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave.